It's another edition of Time About the Movies, and today we're taking a look at the films of Friday the 13th, October 13th, 1995. And before I get into the movies, I have something I need to talk about. The last couple of days, something has been going on with the posting of these videos. Like, when I usually post these videos, sometimes I'll get a copyright claim from the studio, the person that owns the material that I use to show off the clips in the film. And usually those copyright claims are not a big deal for me because I don't get paid through YouTube. But the thing is that it doesn't really affect the videos, especially people that get to see the videos, because usually there's the claim, but it says it doesn't affect my videos going out. But 3 of the last 4 episodes that I posted on here have been partially blocked for some reason. And I know it's not all over the place, it's only in like specific countries, but it's been happening 3 of the last 4 times I've posted videos on there. And it gets very frustrating because I've said before that my internet connection out here is not the best. Sometimes it goes in and out at the most random times at all times of the day. And yeah, so it gets very hard to put these videos out there every once in a while when that happens. It doesn't happen often, but it happens at times when I'm usually doing stuff like this, trying to upload videos, and it gets really annoying really quickly. And those videos, and like those videos that I was talking about, the partially blocked parts, and we're starting to, I was going to start changing the way we put the film clips in there, because we're starting to get into those trailers where they start using more copyrighted music in there, and sometimes that's been some of the reasons why those videos have been partially blocked, is because of the copyrighted music. So I'm trying my best to get the film clips that are not going to be affected by that. I don't know if that's going to work, but we're going to give it a try. I was going to wait until we got to 96, but figure might as well see what we can do with these next couple of weeks in 95, and then we'll go from there. But just wanted to let you know what was going on that front, because some of you may have already seen the videos that went out first, and then for some reason they went away. That's because I had to re-edit them and put them back on there, and so far there have been no problems, and hopefully this is going to work this time around. So with that said, I've already wasted enough time. Let's just get right into the movies. And we're going to start off with, we have some notable controversial films this weekend in 1995, Friday the 13th. And this is probably one of the most notoriously bad movies, and that is the movie Jade. So Jade was another winner from Joe Esterhaus in 1995, who also gave us the infamous Showgirls. Paramount reportedly gave him a blind script deal worth $2 to $4 million, and he wrote the script, and then all of a sudden when William Friedkin came in, and the studio basically asked William Friedkin to virtually rewrite the script, which he has said that he has done, and that apparently really pissed off Joe Esterhaus, and he wanted his name completely taken off the movie, which you can see how well that worked out. But that was one of the things that was going on with the movie. Also of note of this movie was David Caruso. Now, we kind of talked about him a little bit in Kiss of Death, but David Caruso had just left NYPD Blue the year before. This was the show where his popularity started to grow, and he took that risk from leaving television to become the next feature film leading man. And he was in Kiss of Death, and he's been in some other movies before that. But this was his first real chance to see if he could be a leading man in the movie, and probably not the best movie to pick when you're trying to get your name out there. And despite the marketing campaign, despite the fact that he was pulling really hard for people to really get him to come out and see this movie, nobody really wanted to see him in this type of a character, or the darkly and overly sexual themes of the film, because there's a lot of sexual themes going on in here. A lot of nudity, especially with Linda Fiorentino, which we'll get to in a moment. But it was because of this that Caruso's career kind of took a major nosedive, and he wouldn't find any kind of success again until CSI Miami came on TV 7 years later. And even then, let's be honest, he's just popular now because he's part of a meme that's been going on for over 20 years now. But bottom line, let's get back to Jade, though. This is not a good movie. This is not a good movie at all. But I feel like it could have been even worse, considering some of the casting choices they had here. Like, David Caruso's character was first going to be played by Warren Beatty, which really would have been very awkward. Chaz Palminteri, who plays the husband of the lead female in this, was going to be played by Kenneth Branagh at one point. Julia Roberts and Sharon Stone were going to be playing either going to play the character that Linda Fiorentino plays, and She actually turned it down at first because she didn't want to play a prostitute, but changed her mind once they rewrote the script. And I don't know. I mean, she still gets pretty naked in this movie. I mean, you go to I mean, if you want to see those scenes, just go to celebritymoviearchive.com, or these websites where they just put specific scenes where celebrities get naked, because really, there's no need to watch this movie just to see those scenes. And there isn't an engaging mystery here. It's just like, I think what really comes down to this movie not being very good is the simple fact that it's a watered down version of Basic Instinct, and not a very good version of Basic Instinct. I mean, Basic Instinct just got by being a very unique and different erotic thriller. Like, erotic thrillers are very hard to get right on the nose. Like, Basic Instinct is one of those few examples of great erotic thrillers, and this is an example of how you can make a really, really bad erotic thriller, because the mystery is not engaging. You don't like any single one of these characters at all. I feel like Linda Fiorentino kind of gets screwed over, too, because her career was on a high note after she had started in The Last Seduction, but after this, I mean, yeah, she had Men in Black in '97, but after that, nobody really talks about her all that much. She's barely been in notable movies, as far as I know. But again, I'd have to check again. But I feel like this movie really took a nosedive on her career too. But it took a lot more time. But yeah, really, nothing about this movie worked at all. It bombed hard at the box office. A $50 million budget, and only made back. Didn't even make $10 million back at the box office. I mean, that's how bad it is. Like, it doesn't even have that emphasis of so bad it's good, like Showgirls does. It's just a bad movie. The writing is not very good. The characters are unlikable. The mystery is not very convincing at all. It's just a disastrous movie on so many levels that even the people who made the film have long admitted, yeah, this is a terrible movie on so many levels. Like, even people like Michael Biehn, who's in this movie, has said, I had no idea what I was doing when I made this movie. It's just like, you think? You think that was possibly the case there? And, I mean, really, what more can you say about this movie? Like I said, you want to see the hardcore sex scenes or the nude scenes in this movie, just go online and find them. They're free. They're out there. Nobody's really trying to hide them from anybody, but you'd probably be better just looking at the stuff on there than actually going to the movie theater and wasting your money on this, or even renting this. It's not even good. Like I said, it's not even good on a so bad it's good level. It's a bad movie on so many levels. One of the worst movies of the year by far. And it gets even worse this weekend, because we have another movie that is maybe not as notoriously bad as Jade, but it definitely is a terrible, terrible film. And that is Demi Moore and Gary Oldman in The Scarlet Letter. So like I said, this is probably not as notoriously bad as Jade, but if you've actually seen the movie, you actually would debate whether or not it's on those same levels as some of those really bad movies, because let's just sum it up here. This is basically an adaptation of Nathaniel Hawthorne's story, The Scarlet Letter, about a woman who falls in love with a young minister. They end up having a sexual relationship. They become inseparable lovers. And the woman becomes sentenced to wear a scarlet A for adultery because of what she did. And it's not a happy story whatsoever. Bottom line, it's not a happy story on any level whatsoever. But you get a guy like Roland Joffe, who did The Mission. He did The Killing Fields. He did The Killing Fields. He did City of Joy, Fat Man and Little Boy, some notable films. I mean, he could make this into a good modernized epic, something maybe on the levels even something like Gone with the Wind, if there was a good script involved. But no, what they do here is pretty insulting to the original story. Yeah, they basically give this story a happy ending, and there is no way to make this story work with a happy ending involved in this. Like, nothing happy happens in this movie whatsoever. This is like something that a person that writes a Lifetime or a Hallmark Channel movie looks at and says, "No, we got to change this. We got to make the ladies feel happy about the situation here. Like, everybody needs to have the happiest of endings possible." And it's just like wow, like, you are so off on what you were trying to do here. There's no way this story worked with a happy ending. Like, there's no way that this can work with the way that you want to tell the story. And you see why it plays out in the movie. It's it's not enjoyable, it's not engaging, and it just shows how just so messed up the scriptwriter for this was when they were putting this together. And then, but it's like, if that was the major problem with the movie, that's the major problem with the movie. That's what I want to say. The major problem with the movie is the fact that they give us a happy ending. Like what were they thinking? And it also doesn't help that the chemistry between Demi Moore and Gary Oldman does not work whatsoever. Robert Duvall's in here, and he's not very good. It has a really good cast overall, but they're just given a script that's not worthy of enjoyment whatsoever. It's not even a so bad. It's again not even a so bad it's good type of a movie. It's just one of the most ridiculously messed up adaptations of a story that you will ever see. If Easy A can make this work better than the original movie, The Scarlet Letter, and Easy A was a straight up comedy. I mean, it was basically the comedic version of The Scarlet Letter, and that movie did it a lot better than this adaptation that's supposed to be taken seriously ends up doing. And it's just like, it's a mess. It's a mess of a movie. It's another one of those movies that would have been on the list of the worst movies of '95 for me if I'd actually put a list together, which, I mean, I did a kind of on the website, but yeah, this is one of those movies that you look at. It may not seem like the worst movie ever, but once you watch it and watch what they do, you have no reason to believe that this wouldn't be on a worst of the year list or even the worst of the decade. Like, it's amazing how low this movie sinks for entertainment value. It's just ridiculous. So that's The Scarlet Letter. So let's move on to, I would say, a much better movie, but I wouldn't say that about this next movie. It is a little bit better, but that's not saying much. It's Blue in the Face. So if you remember me talking about the movie Smoke, I talked about how this movie was filmed around the exact same time as that movie. In fact, they did it on the same sets, featuring a lot of the same people. They shot this movie without a completed script, and they tried to create these unique combinations of distinctive performances, oddball characters, improvisations, raffish scenes, like scenes that just don't really comply together in a movie like this. I actually waited to see both of these movies to really compare the two. And like I said before, Smoke is the better of the two movies, but this movie, it is definitely a very odd movie that seems more likely it was trying to appeal to a more mainstream audience than Smoke does, and it just doesn't work well here at all. Like, I mean, the only thing I can really say about the movie is that Harvey Keitel is really playing a good character in this. Like, he really is one of the stronger elements of the film, but the rest of the cast just seems like, it seems like the director said, just improvise scenes. Just come up with the first thing that comes in your head and we'll do it. And nothing really is working for them. You got some notable names in here with this film. Michael J. Fox, of course. You also have Giancarlo Esposito, Roseanne Barr. You see Madonna in there, Lily Tomlin, Mira Sorvino, Lou Reed, Jim Jarmusch. Like, there are notable names in here, and you think that you would have some good material come from somebody, but the jokes don't really work all that well. The sex appeal of the movie isn't really all that strong, and there's not really a good story structure here to work with. It's an interesting idea to do another movie with a lot of the same people and characters from another film, do it in a completely different genre, but it's a mostly mixed bag that never really takes off as well as I think they wanted it to. I think you're better off just watching Smoke. You get a more investing story, much more interesting characters, and a much more enjoyable film. Blue in the Face, it's a nice little experiment that doesn't really fit as well as I think they wanted it to. It's a really lackluster film, to say the least. So, anyway, let's move on to the last two movies that we have here. Two of them I've never really seen, so we can get through these pretty quickly. We'll start off with Merchant Ivory's Feast of July. So this is a story based off of a novel by H.E. Bates set in late 19th century England. Rests on sibling rivalries for the affections of a woman who comes to live with her family by happenstance. In time, she decides to accept the marriage proposal of the youngest of the three sons, and to the surprise of all of them. However, a man she once loved and abandoned her comes back into her life, and the appearance of this guy sets into motion a tragic series of events that's eventually engulfing everybody around her. And when you look at this trailer alone, you can kind of see that Merchant Ivory is just sticking things to the wall and thinking that if anything is going to work, just keep throwing stuff until stuff sticks and actually turns into something. And I don't know, this trailer does not really sell this movie. It's like they just, the spark isn't there in this trailer. Like, I've seen some Merchant Ivory movies that have actually been kind of decent, but I've never heard anything about this one until now, so that's probably not a good sign going forward. But that trailer did not do this movie any favors, though. What was that? That trailer did not do any favors for this movie, is what I was trying to say. I'm sorry, but, so that's Feast of July, so let's move on to the last movie that we have here, and that is The Death of Venus. Or Delta of Venus. Death of Venus. What the hell was I thinking? I could have just come back in there, but as soon as I stopped recording, I realized I said the wrong name. But, yeah, this is not called Death of Venus. This is called Delta of Venus, directed by Zalman King, best known for the Red Shoe Diaries. He's done a couple of movies before. He did Wild Orchid and Wild Orchid 2. But his best known work was the Red Shoe Diaries, and I don't know, this feels like a long episode of Red Shoe Diaries, honestly. I mean, if you saw that show and this trailer, do you think you could tell the difference between either one of them? I mean, I don't know, but I'm guessing this trailer doesn't really do anything. It doesn't really sell the movie very well. It's just the fact that, okay, you're going to see two people here having explicit sex for over an hour and a half. I mean, anything interesting going to happen with them? Probably not, but like I said, I haven't seen the movie, so I can't really say too much about it. So, either way, it came out this weekend, and got to talk about it. So, Delta of Venus. So on that note, we wrap up another edition of Time About the Movies. Next time around, we have some more interesting films, including Barry Sonnenfeld's Get Shorty. We also have Now and Then, Never Talk to Strangers, Kevin Smith's follow-up to Clerks Mallrats, and also Maya Lane, A Strong Clear Vision. So 5 movies to look at next time around. We'll delve into those on the next episode. But until then, thank you very much for watching, and if you want to see more videos like this, please hit the playlist on the next page, check out the previous episode, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for another episode. So thank you for watching. I'll see you next time, and until then, as always, take care.